Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever this reaches you, however this reaches you. I go by the name Big Papita. My channel is dedicated to get drivers or just bargaining unit employees who are under the 396 contract with Waste Management to basically know your rights and protect your contract. Know what the heck is going on. All right, so we're going to get into, we're still in Article 4. We're still in Article 4, but we're going to start off with Section 5, which is start time. The employer shall designate a starting time for each employee covered by this agreement. So, this is a situation that I have to explain a little bit. It's very simple, but sometimes very simple things aren't that simple. So if they give you a start time when you clock out the day previous, these are for my guys that don't have a route and they're switching routes every different day, whether you're a cover driver or you're just under that thing where you don't really have a route and you're covering different routes and you have to check that board. My advice to you would be to take a picture of the board, because I'm not saying this happens at every yard, but in some instances, let's just say the managers don't communicate with each other, or if there's some kind of misunderstanding, and you clock out, let's just say at 4 o'clock, and the board said this at 4 o'clock 4 o'clock p.m., but it's telling you to come at 6:30, and then you come in at 6:30 the next day. They say, hey man, you're an hour late. Now we're going off of a word of mouth situation. Okay, so it's kind of important to take pictures or document the dates and times, because what can happen is there could be some misunderstanding and you'll be put in a situation where it's the company's word versus you. So that's what I have to say about that. Section 6, rates of pay and conditions not reduced by this agreement. The employer agrees that no employee, member of the union, who prior to the date of this agreement was receiving more than the rate of wages designed in this agreement or conditions better than those herein provided for the class of work in which he was engaged shall suffer a reduction in the rate of wages or conditions of employment through the operation of or because of the adoption of this agreement. And in addition, no employee will receive less than the general increases as negotiated and provided in Appendix A of this agreement on the dates herein specified. Which means you're going to get paid the wages that you're supposed to be getting paid, that was agreed to in Appendix A. We'll get to that later on down the line. So you shouldn't get paid any more. You shouldn't get paid any less. You should be getting paid what the rates say. Section 7, work performed in a higher classification. When an employee is requested to do work in a higher classification, he shall receive the higher rate of pay for the entire day in which such work is performed. When an employee is requested to work in a lower classification, he shall receive his regular rates of pay for the entire day in which such work is performed. Okay, so you happen to be a residential driver. Okay, that's what you do. Residential falls under the umbrella at our yard. That's what, rear loader. That's also side loader, and that could be bulky. That could be bulky pickup, depending on if you're using a commercial front loader or you're using a rear loader. But let's just say for one day they send you to do a commercial route, or they send you to do a roll-off route. that's considered a separate line of business, the commercial or roll-off, right? So if they send you to do a route and the route is commercial and you do residential, they're supposed to adjust that pay for you. Or the reverse is true. If you're doing commercial and you know how to do residential, the reverse, it's the same thing. They're supposed to pay you accordingly. Section 8, itemized paychecks. The union shall have the right to inspect the paycheck of any employee covered by this agreement after the bank has returned a paycheck to the employer. The employer shall make the time cards and payroll records for those employees covered by this agreement available to any full-time paid representative of the union at any time within 6 months from the date paid. This inspection shall take place on the premises of the employer unless otherwise provided for. On a monthly basis, employees may request a printout of their banked vacation, FHP, personal days, and sick days with 1 week's advanced notice. So in the event that a paycheck bounces and you're not getting paid, the union has a right to come through or come to the yard and inspect the situation and make sure drivers or employees are properly getting paid. Method of payment. All employees covered by this agreement shall be paid in full each week with a check that includes pay for all hours worked during that previous work week, less required deductions and deductions authorized by the employee. The employer shall have a designated payday, Thursday or Friday. A, rates of pay provided for by this agreement shall be minimums. B, time shall be computed from the time that the employee is ordered to report to work and registers in until he is effectively released from duty. And C, employees required to work on Saturdays shall receive a minimum of a 6-hour guarantee. Okay, so self-explanatory. Section 10, employee definition. A regular full-time employee covered by this agreement shall be defined as an employee who has completed their probationary period specified herein, dating from the employee's most recent date of hire, and who is scheduled to regularly work a minimum of 40 hours per week. So that's what an employee definition is. Article 5 is seniority. All right, so I don't know. Maybe I'll save Article 5 for a separate video. But this is a quick, easy. I just wanted to make sure that I finished Article 4. So we're going to go to Article 5 next video. Hopefully you guys are following along. Once again, I am not a union representative. I'm just simply a member sharing this information, trying to make this information easy to access in the event that you fall into one of these categories and you need some clarification. You can come to my channel, you can spread the word. Make sure you guys subscribe. You click that bell to get notified when I upload these videos. So on to the next video.